Hello and welcome. This is the NFL Big Match Preview brought to you by NFL Insight. I'm Andy Richmond, and as we move towards the Conference Championship games this weekend, there's just two games, and of course we're putting both of them under the microscope here. The first one we're going to take a look at is the San Francisco 49ers visit to the Seattle Seahawks, two divisional rivals who will be playing for the NFC title this weekend on Sunday night. And there's two teams that really don't like each other very much at all, so it should make for a fascinating game. We're going to look at some of the betting markets, reflect on the previous meetings between the two teams, and most importantly look at those important tactical facets which could well decide this game. And we'll give you a small taste of our match trading statistics, our live match trading statistics, which form the base of a lot of our trading decisions and strategies which we'll use on a Sunday night when we'll be trading this game live. Now let's take a look first of all at the match odds and how those compare with our master tissue. Well, the 49ers are in at about 2.65 with the bookmakers, and you can we reckon they should be a little bit shorter. I think the Seahawks, I definitely agree with our tissue price here. I think the Seahawks are a little bit short. Again, they've won the last four matchups, but the 49ers, as I'll go on to explain, they're a little bit of a different side now, and you can get a handicap of 3.5. Again, we think that's a little bit long as well, a little bit generous. So 49ers would be the side we're favouring. Let's take a look at the matchbook prices, see how they go on the game as well. Here you can see 2.78 the 49ers. I think that's a very, very tradable price, as is the 1.55 Seattle Seahawks. Depends which way you want to go, whether you're a backer or a layer, which way you feel more comfortable. Again, the handicap, again it's only 3.5 points that they've actually put up as well. I'd probably want a little bit more, but that brings the teams quite close together. I think if you can get any of that 5.5 or even a bigger handicap, a 4.5, something like that, then that would be very, very useful to use for the 49ers. The point spread, which could be a very, very tight game, that looks very low to me, 38.5. The weather should be okay on Sunday, so I'd just be tempted to go over that 38.5 points line, although defence will hold sway here. Now, I said we're going to have a look at how the season's gone for these two teams, and for reflection, this is the third time the 49ers and Seahawks will meet. The teams are split in the regular season series, with each club winning at home. At Carolina last week, San Francisco scored 17 unanswered points in the team's 23-10 victory, and ultimately that was quite an easy win for San Francisco. They looked moribund earlier on, but they really did come back into it. The 49ers defence did a tremendous job, didn't allow a single point in the second half. Now the team hopes to carry that momentum into Seattle, where the Seahawks have won the past two meetings by a combined score of 71-16, but I think that's just a little bit biased towards the Seahawks there. And again, as I've said before, 49ers are a little bit of a different team, and they've learned to play on the road. They've won in Green Bay, and they've also won in Carolina. Two tough places to go. Now, the Seahawks, they're not a pushover. Number one seeded Seahawks, they've advanced to their second NFC Championship game with a 23-15 win over New Orleans. They're 1-0 in NFC Championship games, and of course they advanced to the Super Bowl in the 2005 season. And of course you've got to mark this up for the Seahawks. The Seahawks have won 6 consecutive postseason home games and are 16-1 at CenturyLink Field over the past 2 seasons. It is a tough place to go. Now let's take a look at the match dynamics and how things have gone so far for the teams this year. Let's take a look at San Francisco's offense, because it's evolving. It's been a different unit since Michael Crabtree returned in week 13. Vernon Davis is now healthy, and they have 2 pass catchers who can win one-on-one against man coverage, and that's the coverage that Seattle will employ. Having both of them on the field also means more space for Anquan Baldwin to operate, and Baldwin had a big game on Sunday in Carolina, 8 catches, 136 yards. But he did struggle against Seattle's sort of man-to-man press coverage in week 2, where he just had 1 catch of 4 yards. But, of course, Crabtree's back this time. Davis is there as well, so it's a little bit of an evolved offense. The 49ers are one of the best offensive lines in the league. They've been running the ball extremely effectively in postseason, averaging 146.5 yards per game. Frank Gore is a consistent runner between the tackles, and is also very, very good at picking up the blitz as well. He does a lot of good blocking work, and the important point to remember about Gore, he gets stronger as the game goes on. Kaepernick has been better at making decisions with the football. He still makes a few errant throws in each game. He needs to make the correct reads here, because this Seattle defence, they are very opportunistic and could pick him off. Now, field position, that's going to be really important in this game. It's an area of the 49ers probably had the biggest weapon in punter Andy Lee. He ranks highly amongst the punters in NFL, and it's his hang time, 5.6 seconds. The ball is up there in the air. You get your coverage team down the field, and that really allows the 49ers to cover punts well. And it wouldn't be surprised to see the Seahawks pinned deep on quite a few occasions. Now, regardless of their arsenal and matchup problems, they should be able to present the 49ers. The 49ers offense is really poor in red zone scoring. They're outside the top 10, and they're actually ranked number 12, which is really surprising for a team like this. If you were to look at their last 3 games, for instance, they've been rolling in those games. The 49ers offense has been in goal situations in lots and lots of times, and the 4th most in the NFL, 4.3 times a game. Yet the red zone scoring has not improved. This Sunday, the Niners really want to avoid settling for field goals. It would be a bad sign if they cannot pierce Seattle's red zone defence in tight quarters. It's a defence between a 1 and 2 score game. Coming away with field goals is no good. They need to put points on the board. Touchdowns need to put on the board. They need to be able to put at least 1 or 2 away if the opportunity comes along. In the last 4 meetings versus Seattle, listen to this one, the 49ers have had 14 drives in the red zone, and only 3 have ended in a touchdown. Now, how important is that going to be on Sunday? And a good point to remember if you're trading. Historically, the 49ers are a team that starts slowly as well. So when you're talking about setting the tempo early, and that's what you want to do, and taking the crowd out of the game and capitalising on opportunities, there has to be some concern as to whether the 49ers can actually accomplish that this weekend. Nearly 70% of the time, the 49ers don't come away with points on their first drive, which is probably why their strategy is to defer whenever they win the coin toss. The 7 touchdowns on opening drive since 2011 is the 3rd worst in the NFL. Over the past 2 seasons, this may well be important on Sunday again, all 4 opening drives versus the Seahawks have ended in punts. The weather, now that can often play a big part in the game in Seattle, but the forecast looks more settled on Sunday, and that may just help the 49ers. The Seahawks know how to handle wet and bad weather, yet you have to go back to 2011 to find the last time the 49ers played Seattle in dry conditions, and coincidentally, that date was the last time the 49ers won in Seattle. Now, all this doesn't mean that if the weather is dry, the 49ers are going to roll through Seattle. The Seahawks still have a great home field advantage in dry weather, as well as just being a great team in general. It'll be a nice change of pace, however, as the weather does not seem like it will play a deciding factor in the game. Let's take a look at Seattle now and just flip the coin over a minute. There's no question that the doubt in my mind about Seattle is their passing offense. It's struggling right now. Well, Russell Wilson has missed some throws certainly on inside slants. He seemed to be throwing the ball behind the receiver a lot. There seemed to be a timing issue there on Sunday, and he hasn't got a cast of wide receivers that is very strong. There's no one on the outside with deep pace who scares the defence, with the exception of Percy Harvin, and his status is unknown. I'll come on to Percy Harvin later. And they don't threaten defences vertically. As a result, Wilson is holding on to the ball too long. He doesn't trust his initial reads, and he showed on several occasions against the Saints on Sunday. That's got to be an area of concern for the Seahawks as they enter Sunday's game. Now, the Seattle defence is arguably the best in the league. It doesn't really have any weaknesses at all. It's even more dominant and imposing because of home field advantage that Seattle have with their 12th man at CenturyLink Field. The secondary, they're extremely tough. The linebacking core, good in pass coverage, good against the run. They've also been successful against San Francisco in the past by not having to blitz Kaepernick, and they can get to him with 4 pass rushes. However, Seattle must make sure that its defensive ends are disciplined in their rush lanes and don't get too far upfield. Otherwise, Kaepernick is going to use his legs to his advantage. It's important to flash him to his left, as he likes to throw on the run while going right. The 49ers O versus Seahawks D is a real contest to savour. I mentioned Percy Harvin. He's the real X factor on the Seattle team, but will he make the gig? That's unknown at the moment after his concussion last week. But for the Seahawks' sake, let's hope he makes it. because in open field he has acceleration and an ability to change direction. He also gives the Hawks a deep threat that they otherwise lack. Now we all know how dangerous, and I've just mentioned it, 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick can be, and Seattle, they've got to contain him, not allow him to break outside his pocket. As I said before, you want to get him going to his left, not to his right. That's the way to make him go. Basically, when they rush him, the Seahawks must stay in their lanes, not over pursue him, because he really does have the ability to kill you with his legs and the read option offense. Now, with the doubts about the passing attack of Seattle, much of the onus for the offense will fall on the shoulders of Marshawn Lynch, and he'll need to be at his best again against a tough front seven of the 49ers. Now, they're tough to run on, but you can run on them. Much will depend on the offensive line of Seattle as well. Last week, Lynch had an amazing 66 of his 140 rushing yards after contact, and once again Seattle will need Lynch to engage what we all know as beast mode if they are to overcome the final hurdle and advance to the Super Bowl, and not place all the onus on their defence to get them there. Now, at the top of the show, I mentioned some of our exclusive trading stat sheets that we have, and the information on the sides and how they've responded in certain situations, how often they go on to win a game from certain points and certain situations. We have these as a guideline, and we also price them up so we know what's an offer in the marketplace and what we know is the true price on these situations. Here you can see if either of the teams are leading by 7 points at half time, the percentage chance of going on to win the game, similarly by 3 points at half time, and if the game is tied at half time. We have these for every minute of every game, so we can tell what the true price is, a rolling tissue if you like. We also look at how likely it is a side to rush out to a 10-0 lead. Seattle have got a 12% chance of doing that. San Francisco have 7% chance. Now, all these prices come from hundreds and hundreds of similar type games and matchups that we've actually modelled to give us these percentage chances. Now, these statistics, they're just a small taster of the actual profusion of data that we've got available in the sheets that we have. They're exclusive to NFL Insight and via the live updates that we fire into our trading room on a Sunday night as well. That makes us able to assess match situations and the odds available at instant, as well using our match reading skills, as you've seen from some of the pointers that I've given to you here today. Now, match previews, which you're obviously watching and listening to at the moment, they're just a small part of what we do here at NFL Insight. We're looking forward to year 3 of NFL Insight now as we get towards the Super Bowl as well. We hope that you've enjoyed the previews this year via our YouTube channel. It's certainly a facility we're going to use an awful lot more next year. I'll be back with another match preview this week. Of course, we'll be previewing the AFC Championship game as well, so make sure you look at that one, and a big Super Bowl preview in a few weeks' time. And of course, we can also look for our betting focused previews via our website, which is www.betting-insight.com. Make sure you have a look at that for all our best betting opportunities on the game. I'll be going through all those prop bet markets that are springing up all over the place at the moment. Once I've taken into a lot of account the tactical factors in this preview, and a few more I'll point out in that preview as well. We'd love you to come and get involved with us at NFL Insight for all your NFL previews, statistics, training views and betting advice. We believe that NFL Insight is the forefront of a new way of looking at and betting on the NFL. That is the NFC Championship game preview. The San Francisco 49ers going to the Seattle Seahawks. I've been Andy Richmond. Enjoy the game, and we hope to see you again here soon at NFL Insight.